With Game 5 of the series between the Cleveland Cavaliers and the Detroit Pistons going to the Cavs, the series has now become a lot more interesting than it was initially thought to be. Despite the Pistons being known for their defense, aside from the physicality they implemented, they made mistakes with their rotations and closeouts, and there were a few plays the Cleveland Cavaliers used that the Pistons didn't seem to be able to stop. Their offense also seemed to be a little stagnant at times, and those two factors combined to give Cavaliers a Game 5 win. One of the most prominent outliers in the Pistons defense was their inability to switch to close gaps. In a perfect defense, it's not really necessary to switch because every person can do the job well, but that's never the case in real life. Here, as Cunningham gets beat off the dribble, Jalen Duren rotates to help, which leaves Jarrett Allen open. The next best person to defend Jarrett Allen would be Tobias Harris, so he should be ready to switch in the gaps. He doesn't, however, and because Jalen Duren is too late getting back, worried about the kickout, Jarrett Allen gets a wide open layup. This kind of problem kept happening. Here you're going to see a flare screen between Dennis Jenkins and Kevin Huerter. This should be an automatic switch, but Kevin Huerter is not even close to paying attention to the man in the corner, and that leads to an open three. Here's another example where the Cavs put Evan Mobley at the top of the key as a passing hub. This is to get Jalen Duren out of the paint and in an uncomfortable zone of the perimeter. It works because as Jalen Duren went to help, Evan Mobley was left open on the top of the key. While switching onto Evan Mobley wouldn't be ideal, getting put in the blender is significantly better than giving up an open three. Here, Marcus Sasser should take Mobley, LeVert should take Sasser's man, Thompson should go to the corner, Cunningham should cover the weak side players, and the goal is to switch back whenever the ball is on the opposite side. This lack of switching also had them getting fried by this high-low action the Cavs used. Jarrett Allen's going to get positioned in the low post, and then as Mobley screens for Harden, because the Pistons aren't able to help on the drive, there's tons of empty space to drive to. Either Harden, Mobley, or Jarrett Allen will get a wide open shot. Here's another example. This time the Pistons actually do rotate well, they just rotate late because they weren't prepared. Sasser's going to work to take Evan Mobley's shot away, but then as the ball reaches the corner, no defender gets there in time. And this is a great play to look at because if Mobley had rolled, there would also be no option. Let's pause here to go over the correct rotation. Say Evan Mobley does roll, meaning that Jalen Duren has to step up to guard the roll. That would leave Jarrett Allen open, which means that Caris LeVert has to take him. That would leave James Harden open in the corner, which would mean that Cunningham would have to take both the corner and the wing. From there, each Piston has a closeout depending on where the ball goes. This is why modern defenses like positionless players and good closeouts. Here's another example. This time, Mobley does end up rolling, and on the roll, when Harden passes the ball, he passes it back to Jarrett Allen. Thompson is almost there, but he was a bit late because he was face guarding Donovan Mitchell in the quarter. The key here is that the weak side defender has to be ready to help. Here, Ausar Thompson should have already been at Jarrett Allen. One of the two defenders in the pick and roll has to take the weak side defender's man after helping. The Pistons fail to do this every time. Here's another example of their poor pick and roll defense. I don't know why they expected Marcus Sasser to get over two screens and chase James Harden. Duren should have been stepped up to block the three-point shot. That would have let a roll happen. You can switch accordingly. It's better than giving up a wide open James Harden three. Here, as James Harden grabs the rebound, Evan Mobley is going to leak out in transition and get the easy dunk on the other side. This looks like just a simple transition play, but it happened all game for the Pistons, mostly due to not being able to get back in time. And even if they do get back, as James Harden brings the ball up the floor here, you're going to see Dennis Schroeder gets an easy lane to the rim. If you look back at that, if Schroeder was funneled to the middle of the floor, there wouldn't have been a problem. So even if the Pistons get back, their coverage isn't great until they're solid in the half court. One of the Pistons' strengths, though, is that each player is a good individual defender. This leads to a lot of transition plays, and they get a lot more points off turnovers than the Cavs do. This kind of constant ball pressure is exactly what the Pistons are so good at. On top of this, all of them are really good at making transition plays off of turnovers. It's what kept them in the game for most of this game before they ended up going out in the fourth. Their offense can also look really fluid at times too. With how good of a scorer that Cade is, whenever motion is implemented into their half-court offense, it generates really good looks for him. Here's an example where he's just fading away from the basket. That's a practice shot for him. The action here starts with just a simple ball screen. Isaiah Stewart receives the ball at the top of the key. Marcus Sasser cuts across. Stewart rescreens his own man, and that just gives Cade a wide open shot. This wasn't a one-off thing either. Through some motion here and repeated to Sar Thompson's screens, there's another good look that happens. As we see here, Sar Thompson's going to give another handoff, lets him get in the paint, and gets an easy floater. If they could repeat this kind of offense, they would have done a lot better. A lot of times they just settle for these slow post-ups. Here, Tobias Harris is going to get decent position and try to go to post, but ends up just taking a pretty contested turnaround jumper after a little bit of dribbling out the clock. And as that rebound goes out of bounds, they're going to get another chance at the possession. But then after inbounding the ball, they're just going to settle for another post-up into a contested jump shot over Jarrett Allen. That goes nowhere, and the Pistons lose their possession off of 2 bad shots. And while Cade Cunningham is a really good scorer, their offense would slow down again through these isolation plays, and there's nothing wrong with the isolation except no one else on the Pistons is moving. It's hard to get anything going when there's so many help defenders just waiting for you to move. There's also not enough of an emphasis on making transition plays. Here you can see Cade Cunningham actually sprints down the court to get into the corner for a good 3-point on the transition attempt, but the ball does not find him in time and it ends up getting contested. He probably gets fouled there, but it's not called. If the Pistons were to fix some of these weird offensive possessions and use a little bit more movement on defense, they'd probably have a lot more success in this series. Regardless, if they do make it to the Eastern Conference Finals, it'll probably be really hard for them to win against the Knicks. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm a new channel, so any engagement you can give, whether it be subscribing, liking, or commenting, goes a long way. If you have any feedback on how I should make these videos, I am trying to read every comment. If you want to see more videos like this, you can explore my channel. I'm going to keep trying to make videos throughout the playoffs, so hopefully you'll be able to see more content just like this. Anyways, have a good one, y'all.